Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're having a very quick look at the new retextured Sinai map. I've had this map from day one. I can't remember when it came out. It was probably a year or two ago at this point, and it's been pretty silent from the developers, I think, for quite a while. They haven't really had any updates until now, and this is a pretty huge one. They've pretty much completely retextured the map from start to finish, and we're going to have a very quick look at it and see what they've done. So first of all, let me start off by saying that I think this is an extremely frustrating map for me. And the reason for that is, I mean, I've had it from day one, but I've never really used it. The things I never really liked about it are things which are still present here. For example, it's this. The way textures are integrated between... it's just very frustrating, I find. Very kind of immersion breaking. You see this kind of thing going on a lot of the time. Now, they have completely replaced the underlying textures. And for example, if we have a look here, my God, this looks amazing, right? I mean, look at these sand dunes here at this level. They just look so realistic and so cool. Now, when you get actually lower to the ground, you'll notice that, unfortunately, although the actual grainy sand textures are super awesome, unfortunately it's all very, very flat here, so it doesn't really have that three-dimensional feel. But at this altitude, yeah, you can tell these are dunes, and generally the textures everywhere have been improved drastically. Now, the other thing I have had an issue with from day one is the way they did these buildings and these cities. From here, they look great. If you're flying jets, whatever, at this kind of altitude, no issue. If you're flying helicopters low down, well, then you have to deal with all of this, which, you know, there's just, I mean, in comparison to all the other new maps we have in DCS, or even the older maps, obviously by Media, the Syria map, which is directly comparable to this map because they overlap in a lot of places. You see that, you know, buildings and stuff are just plumped down kind of randomly, and then they have these kind of textures just to kind of replicate some kind of clutter. But there's generally no details at all here. I mean, a lot of new maps in DCS now, you can fly super low level between buildings and feel that you're almost in a first-person shooter, I find. But here, you're not going to get that. At high altitude, like say, it's not bad. There's obviously areas where this map completely overlaps with the Syria map. For example, Ramat David. So if we go there, let's have a look here. Ramat David... In some ways, if you look at it from here, I think it's done better than the Syria map. But in fact, in general, if you have a look at the color palette here, just for all the greens and everything, it's fantastic. It's so fantastic. And this is where my frustration with this map comes in, because in the underlying textures that they have for everything, are probably some of the best, if not the best textures I've seen. They're not too bright, they're not too pale, they're kind of just right. They look very realistic, look very appealing. These feels, look at the texturing, the details here as well. It just feels like this is sort of three-dimensional. It feels like, yeah, you're flying at altitude, doesn't look super flat, looks like the resolution is quite high. Look at the sand here. The sand looks like it's generally, looks like sand. It's great. The underlying textures are awesome. But then you have things like this, where you just have a completely random break between one texture and another texture, and this happens all the time, all over this map. It's very annoying. I mean, here's another example. You just have this patch here, and you have another patch here, and they just overlap. And this happens everywhere. And it's such a shame that this is the case, and you'll find that they have these sort of, basically they use 3 or 4 different sort of textures for fields, and they just create these different patches randomly, and they're exactly the same everywhere. You can go to Egypt, and they'll look exactly the same as they do here in Syria. They're just overlapping like this with each other and randomly put together with zero integration. I mean, look at the way these roads kind of meet these fields in a straight line. You get what I'm saying? It's just one of these things that's very frustrating, because the actual textures themselves are brilliant. Probably some of the best, if not the best, ever seen in DCS, but the way they're integrated is terrible. And also the way, like, these cities from here looks pretty good. But once you get closer, the Media map for Syria wins big time. I mean, look at the way these buildings are just put here. It's just like they're randomly scattered around with no real clutter, or you know, you don't have like driveways, you don't have like pavements. It just looks, I don't know, for helicopter flying, I'll be honest, I'd say avoid. For sort of higher altitude fighter jet flying, you know, this sort of altitude, great, no issue. It's just that the breaks and the textures are you know, very evident and a little bit annoying. With regards to the air bases, it's probably where they excel over just about any other map I've seen in DCS. Generally, first of all, just look at the quality here. In general, the details, everything from the markings, and then if you get closer, look at the texturing of the tarmac. It's absolutely fantastic. This is something that they've done so well compared to almost everybody else. Everything from the runways, and the other cool thing is the runways actually have 3-dimensional reflectors and lights. I mean, how cool is that? They're not painted on. This is just me zooming in super close, and they've actually gone through the effort of doing that, and that is brilliant. I am just, wow, bravo. Well done, guys. That's awesome. And again, if you have a look at just generally like the, you know, the textures here inside the hangars is really cool. They're really nicely put together. You know, the texturing are really nice. Look at the detail here, just in the ceiling and everything. It just feels great. The way they've done it is so nice, and the way they have kind of all the clutter and everything lying around is brilliant. My only concern is this is an Israeli base, and it's absolutely full of, you know, these Russian or Ukrainian Kraz trucks, which shouldn't be here, and I don't know why they had to do that, but they're just everywhere. That's definitely a bit of a criticism, but in general, I think the way the airbase is done is fantastic. Again, look at the texturing. Look at the quality of the tarmac texturing. This is something that Orbix needs to take note of, because, I mean, my God, they're just terrible doing that. But these guys are just absolutely brilliant. Look at this. So definitely some of the absolute best, really well put together air bases. Just in general, everything is just where it needs to be. All the clutter. I mean, just look at the tarmac details. I mean, I keep going on about the tarmac details, but it's a big deal when you're taxiing around low level and you're looking from the cockpit. You know, you want to be immersed and you want to feel like you are actually there. And I think this map really does do a great job of, you know, making that sort of world feel like you are something small in a big world, you know, whereas if you have textures which are just smudged all over the place, this doesn't give you that feeling. So in general, when it comes to air bases, things of that nature, definitely one of the best maps. When it comes to towns, cities and stuff, definitely one of the worst maps. And certainly when it comes to the integration of textures, I just can't get over how, in this in particular is not too bad, this area. Also ports, brilliant. Industrial areas, some of the best looking, most detailed, most lovely industrial places I've seen. And again, look at the texturing there, just for everything, the tarmac and the asphalt. It's just super awesome. And even like the details of, like, you know, the hangars and stuff, like they have, it's like they didn't really have to go through the details like this, but they did. And I mean, it's just excellent. Look at these. This is just great. Definitely some of the best industrial looking buildings, and just all this clutter is amazing. Also these ports, absolutely awesome. I love these like shiny, what would you call them, storage, gas or maybe oil tank storage or whatever. And again, you know, like super detailed, didn't need to do that, but they did. And yeah, so industrial areas, if you just look at it, just looks absolutely awesome. Then you get to the cities again, and it just, meh, I don't like it. If we go a little bit further down the coast here, the beach, the beach and the shoreline looks very nice. Again, industrial areas are super awesome. And then, like, look at this. Look how good this is. I am just loving this. This is so cool. You know, just so much detail here. So much detail. I love it. I love it. Yeah, this is so well put together, so well integrated. And then you come to the actual, and look at the underlying textures again. They've replaced everything, and it just, the color palette, love it. It's so good. It's just the perfect blend of colors here. But it's so frustrating. I mean, this part's maybe not finished. And you do get these patches quite often, unfortunately, where it's like you get the detailed fields and then you kind of get this kind of meh, unfinished stuff. But yeah, it gets extremely frustrating. Again, big cities, I just don't think they're that good. You know, they're just a bit random. Like, it's just, you couldn't fly a helicopter here at low level. I mean, everything is just randomly all these buildings just make no sense. At high altitude, it's fine. But lower altitude, not so much. Again, when it comes to bases, it's just so good. I love it. They've done such a great job here. Look at the grass, the trees. It's just so well done. It's just so well done. And look at the beach, so awesome as well. But then look at these dunes here. Just look super nice, super realistic. Industrial areas, super great. But then, my God, you get to these places and you're like, what is going on here? Look at these textures just being cut off randomly in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. It's just too choppy for me. It's like there's areas which look just so good, and then there's areas like this which just look, I don't know. I mean, this is obviously all very copy paste. And again, you see all these just kind of random fields. They're just kind of put in randomly, and then the way they're something that, you know, the new maps like the Afghanistan map does exceptionally well. And actually, if we go and have a look, one of the things they do again exceptionally well here is definitely things like SAM sites. Let's go to one here. I'm just going to go to one randomly in here. Let's have a look at the SAM site. I absolutely love how they've done the SAM sites. I think this is something where Ugra Media could actually learn a little bit, because their ones look very generic on their new map, the Cold War Germany map. And obviously I understand that they are supposed to look different to this, because this is a very different part of the world. But look at the detail here. I mean, like these revetments and stuff, they just look perfect. But then again, look at the integration of these textures. How does this make sense? How does this sand go in between all these fields? And then have a look at these fields. Like I said, it's about 4 or 5 different field patches, and they're all just randomly placed. Like, you get the yellow fields, you get the green fields, and you get big square fields, and then you get these sort of random looking fields. And it's just so frustrating. Like here, look at these patches. They are just so not well integrated. And if you look out here, well, it's just copy and paste heaven. I know some people are going to say that, yeah, it's supposed to look very green. But, I mean, look at this. Look at these square fields, and then the way they're cut off, and then this starts, and it's just not nice. I'm sorry, but, like, I wouldn't want to be flying around Egypt here at all, because this is not a nice place to be in. And then, again, with the way the cities are and the buildings, it's so frustrating, because on the one hand, it's so good in some places, you know, and like I said, the textures themselves are great in a lot of places. Not these fields. I don't like these fields. Like this looks just stupid. This is immersion breaking. Look at this as well. And I mean, you get that everywhere. I mean, even if you go to somewhere like Cairo, for example, which, you know, you'd have thought this could be a cool place to fly around in, right? I mean, again, so look at let's have a look here. First of all, same issue with the buildings and stuff, right? There's just no clutter or anything. And then, like, look at these islands here. Like, I've not been to Cairo, but I'm prepared to bet that it doesn't have an island that has this random field with these beautiful roads just kind of going in the water. Like, that just doesn't look right. I mean, that's just textures which have just been cut off randomly. And unfortunately, this map is absolutely full of it. The city itself looks great at, you know, this kind of level. If you're going to be flying around at this kind of altitude, it's great. It's really good. But when you get low down, for anybody who likes flying helicopters, yeah, I don't see it. I really don't see it. When it comes to the terrain here, again, textures are so good. Really, really like all these dunes. But then when you get close, it's a little, well, yeah, it's not as good. And you think these shadows are dynamic. They're not. Maybe some of them are, but a lot of them are not, because if you find like this patch here, for example, which is completely dark, and then you have a look from here, you can see the sunshine. So clearly that shouldn't be dark, should it? That's obviously some kind of, I don't know, satellite imagery thing. But from here, it looks so good. You know, look at these dunes. Definitely the funny thing is, this map, in terms of its texturing for, you know, the individual geographic features, such as, you know, the some of the greens, some of the dunes, some of the mountains. In fact, the mountains are probably some of the best things done here. They all look really good, but then it's just the integration of things and the lack of detail when it comes to buildings, and the copy and paste nature of some of these green fields and the weird way in which they overlap is something I don't like. But just to finish this off, we shall go down here into some of the highest terrain on this map, and I'll just show you there has been a huge improvement here. Now, from here, this has got to be some of the best looking terrain. Look at this. Look at all the little perturbations and all the little just, you know, crevices and rocks and stuff. This looks so three-dimensional when you're flying up at altitude. They've clearly used this technology from the new Afghanistan map, and I love it, right? It's brilliant. And it actually, when you get low down, you'd have thought, oh, it's going to break down completely. You're not going to like it. But actually, it's pretty damn good. I mean, they've used these super high-res textures for these mountains here. And I have to say, if you were to fly around low level, like a low level mission, I mean, I would actually argue for the first time, you would have a good time over what is effectively barren terrain with no trees or vegetation. This is actually not bad at all. It's definitely very far away from Microsoft Flight Simulator levels of low level mountainous terrain detail. But as far as DCS goes, definitely some of the best mountains I've ever seen, and definitely some of the best low-level experience that you could be had here. You know, it's genuinely good. Look at the texturing here. I mean, it actually feels like, yeah, I mean, this actually looks like you could be flying in a realistic sort of, you know, barren landscape. And this is, you know, very rare for me to say. I mean, I'm the first one to criticize low-level flying for the majority of DCS maps, but this is actually really good. So, yeah, I have to say, it's a very mixed bag for me. In some ways, the best map ever made, and in some ways, the worst map ever made. Certainly when it comes to texturing around these dunes and around the mountains, absolutely amazing. Bases, really, really good quality. But when it comes to towns, cities, low level, just not acceptable for me, just not good enough, sorry. And then the way these fields are integrated here, I mean, just look at this. It's just weird. I mean, look, why would you have it's just I don't know. It's such a shame, because yeah, look at the amount of copy and pasting going on here, and just randomly putting these in. Like, I mean, they just don't look like this. Yeah, sorry. And the way they're integrated here as well. Now, I get that in real life they probably also have a fairly you know, sharp contrast line between what's irrigated fields and what's desert, but they're not like this. They're not like this. The way this looks here is not realistic, I'm sorry to say, but you just can't tell me that this is acceptable. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't think I'll be using this map still, because there's too much frustration for me here with the integration of these textures, which is a real shame. But otherwise, you know, huge improvement over what it was. And, you know, I mean, hopefully you can make your own decision for whatever sort of flying you want to do. I think for me, I'm going to stick to the Syria map, even though objectively some of the textures they've used and the color palettes are much better here. But yeah, it's just the integration of everything together on the whole is still not for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this little overview. Sorry about the lack of quality editing. I just thought I'd want to do this one on the fly, just kind of give you my thoughts as we're going along. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Tell me what you think and comment down below, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Adios.